Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to another Chinese special from GEARBEST.com. There is a general rule of thumb with watches that the more complications a watch features, the more facets there are to its dial, the more you're going to pay for that watch. This Guanqin, a blatant Longines knockoff, bucks that trend entirely, giving you a massive amount of complications, a massive number of buttons to play with for not an awful lot of cash. But the eternal question remains, is it any good? Let's flip the camera and find out. It comes in a box, although at this price, to be honest, you'd forgive the postman if he just shoved it through your letterbox. So, which Longines have the Chinese blatantly knocked off today then, and how much do you save by buying this Guanqin instead? Well, here is the original Longines automatic multi-calendar on everyone's favourite grey market retailer JOMW shop, yours for a mere $2295. And there it is, next to the Guanqin in a side-by-side comparison. You could definitely see the similarities between these two pieces today, that's for sure. Now, GearBest are notoriously variable with their prices. I asked them if they could do a deal on this one, got them to sharpen their pencil a little bit. There is a code in the description of the video. You can pick this Guanqin up, if you so choose, for $52 US. So that's a total saving of $2,243 when compared to the Longines original. So no loom shot today because there is no loom, so let's do dimensions first of all and specifications, then get into a movement accuracy report and then start footering around with these buttons and get a good look at what is a very, very pretty dial. No thanks to Guanqin, thanks to Longines for that one. So 41 millimeters in diameter, we've got a thickness of just under 14 mil thick, lug tip to lug tip of 47 millimeters, 20 mil lug width, weighing in on the supplied toad leather strap today at just about 90 grams. So a pretty decent kind of middle of the road set of dimensions, obviously very, very similar to those of the Longines upon which it is based. We have the ubiquitous 316L stainless steel case, high polished finish throughout, no brushed surfaces anywhere on this one, and the level of polishing is perfectly decent. You're not getting a sapphire crystal though, you are getting a dead flat mineral crystal, and we've got a see-through display case back on this one. I'll flip it round also. And there it is, unspecified Guanqin made Chinese movement there, but you do get a custom rotor and a little bit of Geneva striping, a little bit of decoration. Look, some blue screws. Now I do say blue rather than blue de. And we've got a couple of jewels on display there as well. So all in all, not too bad. Just a push down case back, a press case back, giving this watch only 30 meters of water resistance. So basically, don't be getting this one wet at all. That would not be my recommendation. And reasonably accurate. I had this one running in the boxy winders for a while actually. Unfortunately, I reset my Samsung phone and wiped all the data. It was coming in pretty consistently at about plus 22, blown out the last day when I had it flat on its back. So, you know, not amazing, but given the price and given the set of tolerances to which movements at this price point normally operate, plus 20 a day is nothing to cry about. And Guanqin must have their own toad farm because this is exactly the same piece of toad leather as used on the very pleasant $60 Seiko powered Guanqin that I've reviewed some months ago. It's okay, nothing to write home about again, and you're probably going to be wanting to get it off at some stage, but should last, does a reasonable impression of A, leather, and B, crocodile at that. And we've got a little polished butterfly clasp with the Guanqin logo printed on there. Again, a little bit rough and ready today, but passable for the cash. But this one isn't about the strap, it's about the dial and the myriad complications thereon. So let's start with the hands. We've got a four-hander here. As you can see, glinting in my studio lighting, the hands are blue. Again, I say blue and not blued. We've got an hour hand, minute hand, second hand as you'd expect, and the little crescent tipped hand pointing down there between the 5 and the 6, hovering above the Arabic 13 is for the date. So we've got a date complication displayed that way. Now, 6 o'clock subdial, we have a day-night. It's not a moon phase, it's a day-night, so a kind of 24-hour indicator. Let me just pop the crown here and you can see that in action. Now this movement hand winds, but it does not hack, as you can see. Second hand still running away there, and as I adjust the hours, you can see the day-night indicator, the sun-moon indicator spinning around at the 6 o'clock there. And if I roll it over to 11 PM, you'll see that when it ticks past midnight, there we are, that little crescent hand ticks over to the 14th. So the date complication is automatic. You can, however, adjust that fourth hand, the crescent date indicator hand, if you so choose manually, by pressing the bottom of the pushers there. As you can see, ticking 19, 20, 21, and so on. Now here we are again, wound forward to about 10 PM. You can see the day-night indicator down there at the 6 o'clock. This time if you look over at the 9 o'clock, we have got the small hand there pointing up to 7. This is a day of the week indicator, and if I spin beyond midnight and then wait with bated breath, by the time we get to about 2 or 3 in the morning, there we are. It ticks over first half, and then it ticks on by 4 AM. It has fully ticked over to 1. So a 7-day day of the week indicator there at the 9 PM subdial. So what's going on up there at the 12 o'clock subdial? Well, you see the minute hand pointing to 4. You see that little tiny hand there on the 12 o'clock subdial also pointing to 4. It is a 30-minute timer. So if I spin the time, there you are, correspondingly 30 to 30. Not quite sure what the point of that is, but then again, this is just complications for the sake of complications in a lot of ways, and that's a great example of a pointless complication on a watch for less than $55. What else then? The top pusher operates the month there. If you just see that little August flipping over to September on the 12 o'clock subdial, October, November, December, etc. So this is not automatic. The day of the week, the date, and the day-night indicator are all automatic, as is that funny little 30-minute subdial timer up at the top, but you're going to have to set the months manually yourself just by clicking that top pusher. So what about the other two pushers then embedded in the case on the left-hand side? Well, if I get a little poker thing and poke the top one, we will see, hopefully, the year. There you go, we've gone to 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, etc. Now it only goes up to 2027, I believe. Oh no, 2028, there we are. And then resets back to 2017. So this one pretty much becomes redundant, or at least the year element of the calendar becomes redundant in 10 years' time. And the final pusher on the bottom left of the case, adjusting that day of the week, as you can see there on the 9 PM subdial. So it's kind of complicated then, this Guanqin. A bunch of complications, a bunch of subdials, a bunch of features, some of them automatic, some of them manual, some of them useful, some of them perhaps not quite so useful, but housed, I have to say, on a rather attractive dial. Nicely done here as well. Not the easiest watch to tell the time on, given the fact that you've got a 1 to 31 in the inner track there and the minute track on the outer edge, and those Arabic hours, and just so much going on the dial. But once you get used to reading it, it's not too bad at all, and as I said, it's nicely done. All very crisply printed. There's a little bit of depth there for those 3 subdials as well, and obviously the fourth hand adds dimension, and we've got a pop of colour there. So all in all, a pretty attractive piece to look at. And looks pretty good sitting on top of my 7-inch wrist as well. As mentioned, the taut leather strap is nothing special, looks okay, and I suppose it's relatively comfortable. Fairly short lug to lug today at 47mm means this one is going to fit a fair spread of wrists. It's a little larger perhaps than I would have liked it to be, a little bit thicker as well. It would have been nicer at about 40 and maybe 12-13mm thick, but hey, you can't really complain given that this one costs a smidge over $50. And zoomed out a little further for some perspective on the watch, it really does look a lot like that Longines, pretty much a blatant rip-off if I'm being honest, but at a fraction of the price. Moans and niggles then? Well, if you value originality in design, look elsewhere. As mentioned, it's a little larger than perhaps I would have liked it to have been today, but not too much. Toad leather strap, you'll probably want to get rid of that at some point in the near future. And it is slightly noisy. You can hear that rotor from the Guanqin automatic movement ticking and whirring away there, but again, not too bad really. I can't complain too much about this one, given that it's not the most expensive watch I've reviewed on the channel, that's for sure. So there you have it, another Chinese special from GearBest.com then, and another remarkably decent watch by Guanqin, so long as you don't mind the fact that it's a total facsimile of the Longines. That might indeed be part of the appeal for you. I think it looks great because of that. The movement is surprisingly accurate given how much is going on the dial there. You're going to have to press a few of those buttons yourself, but I don't think that diminishes the appeal of this one at all, certainly not at that price. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.